Jeanette, thank you. Let's have a look through the papers once again this morning with broadcaster Iain Lee and journalist Julia Hartley-Brewer. Morning.
Morning.
We're going to be nice to each other now.
Are you?
Well,
Ish. Well, look, let's start, Iain, with the Sunday Express. And looking at tainted blood, so I'd forgotten about this scandal.
Do you know, this is one of these, this is a scandal, and it's kind of slipped through the net a bit. The only reason I'm aware of this is on the radio show I do, we had a guest on who'd been affected by this. So in the 70s and 80s, they were trying out this wonder thing. It's called Factor 8, and it's for haemophiliacs, blood transfusions, all these kind of things. Yeah. And basically, a lot of the blood was infected. It came from people, I think, primarily in American prisons, primarily prostitutes and drug users, and the blood wasn't screened. So a lot of the blood was infected. 7,500 people. Few numbers. 7,500 people were infected with this blood, and it caused, I think Hep C is the primary thing. There are also some cases of HIV as well. 2,000 people have since died as a result of this. There was a big report that came out, I think it was earlier this year, the Penrose report, it was up in Edinburgh, and the victims of this were expecting this to be, at last they would be acknowledged as being part of a scandal, that the government had let them down. This was all blood through the NHS. And it will be seen as some way towards getting some sort of recognition and compensation. And basically, the Penrose report kind of was a bit of a damp squib. It didn't really say a lot. Didn't speak to the people that it should have spoken to, and it didn't really point the finger at anybody. And the campaigners are now. It is a scandal. This was a lazy thing where this blood wasn't screened, it wasn't checked properly.
Preventable, wasn't it?
Completely preventable, and these people have got no recognition. They are, and the compensation is a part of it. And people say, well, how will that, the compensation, I think, is it would help them financially because a lot of them have medical needs and can't work because they're so ill. But also it's recognition to the fact that they're ill and it's not their fault, and this was preventable.
Well, Hep C can be devastating.
Oh, yeah.
And HIV at that time was probably
kill people.
Fatal.
Yeah, and it's shocking. It's one of the things. My genuine belief after speaking to this victim is it's one of those things like thalidomide where the government's kind of waiting for enough people to die, and then when there's only a handful left, they'll come out and say, well, for the 500 people that are left, there's going to be a big payout for you, and it just the government screwed up, the NHS screwed up. Give these people a bit of respect, give them a few quid so they can live better lives.
They need to know why it's happened so that it doesn't happen again.
Well,
the same mistakes aren't made.
Well, they were buying blood off of prostitutes and drug users in American prisons. I think we know why it happened.
I mean, it is worth pointing out that screening now in the blood transfusion services is very,
well, actually, there are now complaints on the fact that gay men are not allowed to give blood in certain circumstances. Again, all the rules around that. Yeah.
And just interviewing this woman on my radio show brought it home just what a massive impact this has on people's lives.
Yeah.